Okay, our last section in chapter 5 that's going to be on our test is 5.7, the binomial theorem. Now remember, a binomial has two terms. So 2x plus 5 is a binomial. Now imagine I have 2x plus 5 to the 7th power. Now remember, that means 2x plus 5 7 times. If you had to expand this, that would be pretty terrible, because you would have a lot of FOILing to do. Again, that looks pretty awful. I don't really want to do that. I don't think you do either. But here's the good news. There is an easier way. The binomial theorem says that when a binomial is expanded, the coefficients follow Pascal's triangle. And Pascal's triangle, you might have seen this before at some point. This is Pascal's triangle. These are the first 10, or really 11 rows of Pascal's triangle. Okay, ones down the diagonal, but then each number, so like this 2, comes from these two numbers added together. The 6 comes from the two numbers above it added together. The 15 comes from these two numbers above added together. Okay. So Pascal's triangle and the binomial theorem make this situation a lot easier. Instead of having to do all of this FOILing, which looks pretty awful, we can follow Pascal's triangle. So let's do that here. Okay, so if our first example was to expand, call this example 1a, expand 2x plus 5 to the 7th power, what I want to do is I want to look at the 7th row of Pascal's triangle. And the 7th row, my coefficients, go 1, 7, 21, 35, 35, 21, 7, and 1. So these are my numbers in the 7th row of Pascal's triangle. Okay. Now, when I expand this, okay, my first expanded term would have this coefficient. So I'd have 1 times this first piece here, 2x. My first term, I would have 2x to the 7th power times 5 to the 0th power. So these two powers here are always going to have to add to what our power is here. So I'd have 1, 2x to the 7th, 5 to the 0. Plus, my next term, coefficient is 7. Then I would have 2x again, but 2x loses a power now. So instead of 2x to the 7th, I'm going to have 2x to the 6th. The 5 gains a power. So it was 2x to the 7th, now it's 2x to the 6th. Was 5 to the 0th power, now it's 5 to the 1st power. And then my next term, I have 21 times 2x. We lose a power. The 5 gains a power. My next coefficient, 2x loses a power. 5 gains a power. Plus another 35. My 2x loses a power again, so it was 2x to the fourth, now it's 2x to the third. 5 gains a power, 5 to the fourth. Plus 21. 2x keeps losing. 5 keeps gaining. Plus 7. 2x loses again. 2x to the first power. 5 to the sixth power. And then finally, plus 1. 2x loses a power. 5 gains a power. I still have a lot of simplifying to do, but I don't have to do all of the crazy foiling and then foil again and foil again and foil again. All right. If I simplify my first term here, and I'll use some different colors, I'll try to switch some colors so you can kind of follow where each came from. 1, I don't really need the 1 there. 2x to the 7th power, I have to take 2 to the 7th power and x to the 7th power. Times 5 to the 0th power is just 1. And right here, plus 7 times 2x to the 6th power, I have to take 2 to the 6th power and x to the 6th power times 5. Right here, I have to take 21 times 2x to the 5th power is 2 to the 5th power, x to the 5th power, times 5 squared. Plus 35 times 2x to the 4th power is 2 to the 4th power, x to the 4th power. And then 5 to the 3rd. Plus 35, 2x to the 3rd is 2 to the 3rd, x to the 3rd, times 5 to the 4th. It's 21, 2x squared is 2 squared, x squared, times 5 to the 5th. We're getting closer here. 7 times 2x to the first is just 2x, times 5 to the 6th. And then my last term here, I have 1 times 2x to the 0th power, anything to the 0 power is 1, times 5 to the 7th. Okay, so let's simplify now. And of course, you would definitely have your calculator for this. Okay, so right here, my first term ends up being 2 to the 7th, x to the 7th. If you figure out 2 to the 7th power on your calculator, it's 128 x to the 7th. Now my second term, 7 times 2 to the 6th times 5. 7 times 2 to the 6th power times 5. I'd have 2,240 x to the 6th. My next term here, in purple, I need to take 21 times 2 to the 5th power times 5 squared is 16,800 x to the 5th. Next here I take 35 times 2 to the 4th times 5 to the 3rd. Is 70,000. X to the 4th. Then I'll take 35 times 2 to the 3rd times 5 to the 4th. Is 175,000. We're almost done. 21 times 2 squared times 5 to the 5th is 262,500. And this is x to the 2nd power now. Right here, 7 times 2 times 5 to the 6th is 218,750. X, and then plus 5 to the 7th is 78,125. So this is my final answer. And as you can see, this is still definitely a lot of work to expand our binomial, but it's a lot less work than if we had to FOIL all of those 7 terms at the beginning.